You start working, you know how much your paycheck should be based on whether you're salary or hourly. You get your paycheck and it's nothing like what you expected, and you're just confused. If that's you, this video is for you. Hi you guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Kayla if you are new here, and welcome to Financial Fridays, where we talk all things money, finances, literacy, transparency, all of the above in a safe, judgment-free zone. As a 24-year-old that has built my net worth to over $350,000 all on my own, no handouts, which I love a good handout, but I did not get one. I have personally learned a ton about finances, and I've realized how hard and challenging it can be. A lot of times people can talk over your head, they can talk in this weird finance bro talk, or they will purposely try to exclude you depending on your background. I am here to bridge the gap. I want this channel every Friday to be a place where we talk money in a transparent, clear, and educational way. I want this to be a community where we can talk and ask questions and have answers. And more importantly, I want to reiterate, I am no expert. I am simply here putting out knowledge on things that I know about in hopes that it can help you. And honestly, maybe you have some information you can share. And if you do, please leave a comment and inform me as well. But overall, that is what Financial Fridays are. We're talking all things money in an easy and safe way. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into episode 1, which is your paycheck explained. Your life happens weekly and monthly, but your pay is actually decided on your pay period, timing, and deductions. So if the paycheck doesn't match what you were expecting, it doesn't mean that you misunderstood. It just so means that maybe you missed a little bit of context, which we can get into. Let's start with hourly versus salary, because this matters a lot more than people think. If you are hourly, typically your pay will depend on how many hours you work, if your hours have changed at all, and what time period your pay period is. So I'm going to give an example of an hourly employee. Let's say that you make $20 an hour. Typically, you work 5 days a week and you work 4 hours a day. Last week you worked your normal schedule, the week before that, same thing, but the week before that, you didn't work at all. Now let's say your pay period only includes the last 2 weeks, not the 3, including the week that you worked this week. That means you're only getting paid for those previous 2 weeks, even though in your head you were probably thinking about the whole month. So your paycheck reflects what fell inside the pay period, not what you expected overall, which can be a lot different from how you're actually working. This is also why hourly pay can fluctuate a lot more, because you're not getting paid on a standard basis, you're getting paid for exactly how many hours you've worked, and that can fluctuate. Now, if you're salaried, it works a little bit different. Majority of the time, companies will go ahead and assume that you work a set number of hours. Typically, I'm sure you're familiar with hearing 9 to 5, aka a 40-hour work week. Companies will also divide the year over by pay periods, similar to hourly employees. So overall, salary employees will have their salary number divided by how many pay periods there are, and their number of hours worked is already assumed within those pay periods. So this gives you a little bit more of a standardized amount you can expect, because it really doesn't fluctuate based on exactly how many hours you work. It more so is fluctuated or changes by little, maybe minimal deduction changes and things of that, but for the most part it's pretty standard. Now let's talk about the second thing that will definitely impact your understanding of your paycheck: gross pay versus net pay. Now, gross pay is really the ideal number. This is the number without any deductions. This is that grand number that they have on the paper when you sign that contract, when they say, hey, you're making $100,000 this year, or hey, you're making $50,000 this year. That is your gross pay. There is nothing taken out and nothing removed from that. And if you're hourly, it is going to be the amount of hours you work times your hourly rate. As I just said, your gross pay is the money that you've earned without any deductions, which means there have been no taxes taken out, no nothing. It is the biggest number that you will see out of your pay. Now, your net pay is what you are actually getting paid. This is the number minus reduction. So this is taxes taken out. This is any deductions taken out. This is actually the number that you are living off of. And so I genuinely think the net pay is far more important, because when you budget and when you think about your actual income, it should be based on your net pay, not your gross pay, because you actually don't end up seeing your gross pay. You typically are seeing your net pay. Your net pay is what hits your bank account every time. So when we budget or when we save or when we try to track our money and spending, we really have to focus on this net number, because this net number is the number that has all of the reductions taken out. This is quite literally what you are actually receiving at the end of the day. Now let's talk about bonuses and overtime, because this is also something that can fluctuate your pay. When it comes to overtime, this is a hourly employee thing. This is something that can absolutely change your overall pay. So let's think about the fact that you work some extra overtime hours in a specific pay period. Now for that pay period, your pay or your net pay is expected to go up. And maybe your gross pay didn't even calculate that, because typically your gross pay is calculated on only the hours that you were expected to work. Overtime usually refers to some times that you are working over that standard amount. Now let's talk about bonuses. This can impact salary and hourly employees. When it comes to bonuses, they are actually taxed differently. However, they still roll into your overall income. This can cause a lot of confusion, because a lot of the times you will see a really big bonus perhaps, and then you actually get it in your pay period and you're like, what is this number? That is due to taxes, like majority of the things are when it comes to reducing a number from that really grand number that you saw, aka your gross pay, into your net pay. And if you're wondering how this entire tax thing works when it comes from going to your gross pay to your net pay, or why bonuses shrink so much when it comes to taxes, we are going to be doing a whole deep dive on taxes in next Friday's episode. Speaking of taxes, let's go ahead and get into it. So before you get paid, some of your money is honestly already assigned. It is going to things like Medicare, it is going to things like Social Security, it is going to things like health insurance. So a good portion of your money has already been allocated before you even get it to allocate it to the things that you perhaps want it to be allocated to. So that is definitely something to take into consideration whenever you do your financial planning and when you're looking at your paycheck. Go ahead and take a look at where those withholdings are going and how much of it is going there. And I do want to say none of these things are bad things, right? It's more so just understanding that it's occurring, because there's nothing more confusing than getting a paycheck and seeing that it's ridiculously smaller than what you expected it to be, and then you're not even understanding where that money went. It is so important to take a look line by line and actually see where this money's going, see the rate of taxes that you are paying, see what class you fall into to see how much you're getting taxed. All of these things impact your pay drastically. So to close it out, we've talked about hourly pay versus salary, we've talked about gross versus net, and we've talked about bonuses and overtime and the overall tax deductions that can reduce your overall income into feeling like something a little smaller than what you expected. If you are somebody like me, I could hear all of these things and still be like, girl, what does that even mean? This is for you. I recommend taking a look at your latest pay stub, looking line by line, but really identifying what is your gross pay, what is your net pay, and what is your pay period. These are the biggest three contributors into understanding what your paycheck is and exactly what you're bringing in each month, or bi-weekly, because that's most common. And that's it. No math, no judgment, just clarity, because there is nothing worse than being confused in money, and trust me, I get it. Next week, we are going to be doing a deep dive on taxes and withholdings and all of these little tiny things that reduce your paycheck in a way that will be explainable and hopefully clear. And with that, I just want to say again, welcome to Financial Fridays, and I hope to see you guys again next Friday. Bye!